Hey everyone, Caroline beat the day. Happy Thursday, happy Thursday, happy Thursday. And I came in a little early because it looks as though it's going to rain. And for those who live in Texas, we've been having a lot of storms and a lot of unpredictable weather. So I figured, you know what, let me come in early. And I usually come in at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. How are you? And I'm not gonna be here long. I just wanted to come on here and share something that I did this afternoon that I haven't done in a long time. And I want to pass on the challenge to you. And for those of you who are wondering, I'm having my green tea as usual. Come on in. Come on in. Let me know where you're from. And I did something very interesting. And for those of you who do not know me, I'm Caroline Beatty Day. I'm a holistic health and wealthpreneur, passionate about health and wealth, but most importantly, passionate about helping you know that God has placed greatness inside of you. And no matter what has happened to you, no matter what you've experienced in life, you are not what happened to you. God has placed in you the ability to heal, to rise up, and step into that lane of greatness that He called you for, right? So my passion is to remind you, or my purpose is to remind you that God has placed greatness inside of you. And May is Mental Health Month, and today I did something that I realized, wow, I gotta work on these things, Caroline. And there's a fruit fly that keeps flying across. So if you see me slapping it, that's what it is. But nonetheless, this afternoon, I actually had a light bulb moment. I was having a conversation with some colleagues of mine, and we work in a busy environment. And we had some downtime this afternoon. And when was the last time, as you've seen, I put on the heading there, when was the last time you actually had a real raw, those real raw, deep conversations, not those surface conversations? Because some of the conversations we usually have are very surface, like how's the weather? Where you from? How's your day going? How are you? We got really deep with two of my friends, and I realized that we did not even look at our phones for over 30 minutes. Over 30 minutes. And we started to reminisce, when we were growing up, how we had a lot of time. And one of the things I want to challenge you is start connecting with people. Put your gadgets away, even if it's just meeting someone for coffee. Turn your gadget off. Have real, raw conversation. And really talk with the person that you're meeting with, or with your friends, or with your family. Because I realize the gadgets have made our work and our life a lot easier. But they can also take us away from having meaningful, real, raw conversations. Because I realized, even when I'm talking with people, I tend to use my phone, and it's disrespectful. I was like, Caroline, you gotta do better. So I just wanted to challenge you as well. When you're meeting with the person, give them the full attention. Because a lot of things are vying for our attention, but the most important attention you could really give is the gift of being present when you're talking with someone who's in your proximity, right? That's all I really wanted to share today, because it was such an eye-opening moment for me. And I was like, God, I don't remember the last time I really spoke with someone for over 30 minutes. It was actually close to an hour without even touching my phone. I was like, wow, I need to start deconditioning myself from the attachment of the phone, right? But nonetheless, how are you doing? We're coming to the end of the month, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I pray that you take the time to have self-care for yourself, soul care for yourself, mental health care for yourself, because we have only one life to live. But today, the thing I learned is the gift of being present and having meaningful conversations with those people that are in my circle. And my takeaway was, wow. Hi, Stephanie. Good to see you. My takeaway was learning to put reminders on my phone, or even put an alarm reminder on my phone. Caroline, don't touch the phone for at least for the next 1 hour when I'm having a conversation or when I'm in the presence of someone. Because sometimes it's so unconscious of us. Sometimes we'll be having conversations with people, the phone will ring, or even you'll get a notification, right? In the middle of conversation. Hi, Coach. Good to see you. Good to see you. And I'll be in the middle of a conversation and I'll get all these notifications on my phone. And I always tend to give my attention to the phone. And I was like, Caroline, you got to do better. Got to do better. So today I felt, wow, I really felt great, but also I learned my lesson this afternoon, the importance of being present when we're having conversation or when we're in the company of our friends or family or colleagues, learning to turn off my gadget, turn it off, and give you my full attention. So my challenge to you, start by turning your phone off when you're having friends over or you're having conversation with someone, you know, just start, even if it's 10 minutes. Give them the gift of being present with them, right? Because there are certain things someone may be wanting to just even share or even open up to you. But when that notification goes off and I look away, they may not even share what they wanted to share. But that is something I learned because we spoke for over 35 minutes and I realized, wow, it was such deep conversation that I even forgot I had a phone. And I'm always like this with my phone. So I said, help me, God. Help me, God, because that's an area I need to work on. But nonetheless, I also want to invite you guys. Tomorrow, I'll be hosting the 4th Holistic Health Wealth webinar. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about how to improve your relationship with food. Because food is essential. Food is part of our everyday life. But it really matters the kind of relationship you have with your food. So I'll be diving deeper and even breaking down the types of relationship that we have with our food and how that impacts our health. So I'll put the link on the comment. You can go on there and it's a free webinar. And I'm just sharing different series. So go on there, register. We'll be meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. and we'll be talking about the impact of food and how to improve the relationship that you have with your food. But nonetheless, I pray you all have a great evening. It looks as though it's gonna storm here in Texas. We've been having a lot of storm. That's why I say, let me come in here a little earlier. Hey, Shalina, good to see you, sis. Good to see you. But I pray you all have a great evening. Hey, Betty, good to see you. And I was for those who are coming on here, I was just actually sharing how, hi, Clarence, good to see you. I was sharing how this afternoon I had deep, meaningful conversations that I forgot that I had a phone. And I had a light bulb moment. I said, oh my goodness, I don't recall the last time I was not attached to my phone. I said, Caroline, you got some stuff to work on when it comes to the gadgets. And I'm grateful for the gadgets that we have. But I'm like, okay, God, that's an area in my life I need to work on. But the challenge I am giving to you guys is when you're in the presence of your friends, your colleagues, take time, give them the gift of being present, right? Remember those days where we didn't have cell phones? We really used to have soulful, I like to call them soulful, real raw conversations that mattered, right? Because we got to get to a place where we don't have time for surface conversations. We got to have those soulful, meaningful conversations. And it felt so nourishing and so empowering. We even had to look at the time. We're like, oh my goodness, it's time to go. Oh my goodness. But I pray you all have a great evening. And let's meet up tomorrow. I'll be talking about how to improve the relationship with your food. I'll also be breaking down the types of relationship that we have in with our food and how that impacts your health. And most importantly, remember that there is a mission and a purpose that God has placed in your life. And my mission and purpose has been to encourage you to really take a hold of prioritizing your health so that the things that God has placed you on earth to accomplish, you'll be able to accomplish them. And for those who've joined the last couple series, you know, we've talked about holistic health, because health is not just physical. We're diving deep and talking about the different aspects of health. And we have 2 more series left. So tomorrow, 6 p.m. let's meet up, and the link is on the comment. Go ahead and register. But yeah, so take on the challenge and give your friends and colleagues the gift of being present. Take the time to really turn off the gadgets. You know, even when we're talking with members of our family, my goodness, I didn't realize how attached I was to my phone until this afternoon. And I was like, my goodness, I got to do better. But I'm a work in progress. We all have areas that we need to work on. And this, for me, is an area I'm working on. But let's see, I need that conversation and understanding. Oh, absolutely, Coach. We'll be talking about that because it's so important. And I'm just going to share a little bit tonight. It's so important to understand the kind of relationship you have with your with when it comes to food and how that impacts your health. Because there's a season in my life, personally for me, I was an emotional eater. But I didn't realize I was an emotional eater until I took a step back and had to look at what was causing me to be so emotional when it came to the food. And I had to look at my whole life. And for those of you who know or do not know, I've been a nurse for a while. And when you're working in a high stress environment, a lot of times I would not have time to eat, right? Because I was working back in back then. I was working 12-hour shifts, sometimes 14-hour shifts. And I'll be going. And by the time you realize, oh my goodness, I haven't drank my water, I haven't rested. And the first thing when I was so stressed was running to chips, right? Running to food that is comfortable, Oh, I don't want to mention the brand of of this, but it's waffle fries. And I used to go get those waffle fries extra large with salt. Oh my goodness, that was my comfort food, especially when I was stressed. But I needed to learn, okay, what is causing this stress? For sure, for sure. And I would also go to this big store, big box store, and buy the big potato chips bag. And let me tell you, I'll get my blanket, Netflix, and I'll be munching on that whole bag by myself. Or sometimes when my hubby would go to sleep, I would grab my bag and it would be me, Netflix, and the bag of chips and a comfortable blanket. And let me tell you, I'll just eat the whole bag unconsciously. No judgment here. That used to be me until I had to address some of the things that were propelling me to reach out to food. And a lot of times it's a way of escape. So it's very important to really get to the root of why. I had to get to the root of why was I escaping what I was facing. And a part of it was just stress, working in a high stress environment. And I remember I told God I was so burnt out, and I told God I can no longer continue to work in this area. Can you open a door for me? And sure enough, he opened an amazing door for me, and now I work in a great place where there's a work-life balance, and that really helped me start really addressing areas of my life, because other areas of my life that had been affected was I wasn't sleeping enough. I was not sleeping enough. And when you're not sleeping enough, there's what we call the stress hormone, cortisol, was constantly elevated. Even when I went to have my blood work checked, my inflammation markers were all extremely high, out of range. My cortisol levels were high. And there are things you've got to know about your health. And I always say, I'm not a doctor. And this is a disclaimer, and I always say that before I share on my webinar. I am not a doctor, but it's so important to know your numbers. Get your numbers, your blood work checked, and then make the necessary changes to bring your body into balance. Because you could be doing, and I always say, health is not just going to the gym and working out. Because if you're constantly having your cortisol level elevated and you're going to the gym doing intensive, high stress workouts, that's actually counterproductive to your body. Your body will need low impact workouts that help calm your body. So it's so important to know your numbers. Oh, thanks, Coach. You're welcome. You're welcome. So we'll be diving deeper into that. And another thing is, I used to be a coffee drinker. Pay attention to the environment you're working, because sometimes the environment we work in or we are in can cause a lot of stress in your body. And if you're not in tune with your body, trust me, one way or another, your body will give you the signals. And sometimes when you're so busy and not paying attention to the signals and the signs that your body gives you, it may take a health crisis like it did for me to really stop and pay attention. So we'll be talking about that. So one of the things I had to learn to drink, Monday through Friday, I usually do the green tea. But I love my coffee, because I used to drink like 3-4 cups of coffee in one day. And I was constantly on the edge. Can you imagine? Very edgy, and then working in a high stressful job, and then not eating. That whole combination is not good for your body. So learn to pay attention to your body. Our body is a living organism. It's alive, and I thank God how He created us so amazingly that if you take the time, listen to the signs and symptoms that your body gives you, and it will point you to areas that you need to change. So I share all of that in my holistic health webinar. So tomorrow, specifically tomorrow, we'll be talking about the relationship you have with your food. Are you a healthy eater? Are you an emotional eater? Do you have an emotional affair when it comes with your food? And no judgment here. It's a safe place, you know. We'll dive deeper. We will dive deeper. But what you will learn are tools and strategies of how to have a healthy relationship with food. Even though I've been on a health journey, I do eat cakes and cookies. But I've learned, and thank God now a lot of grocery stores actually carry healthier versions of things that you still love, that you don't have to be worried about of some of the toxic ingredients. And we'll dive into that. But nonetheless, let's meet tomorrow, 6 p.m. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. The link is in the comment. And yeah, that is so true, Shalina. The environment of other people's habit can also influence us. That is very true. And I used to observe, like, you know, after a long shift at work, oh, the sun is coming out, which is a good thing. A long shift at work, we would always order pizza. And I'll be like, today's the day I'll be fasting, or today's the day I want to eat healthy. They'll bring donuts. And I don't know why they would always do that. They'll bring donuts or they would order pizza. And I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and just eat. It's free food, right? And you're absolutely right. It's important to have boundaries when it comes to your health, right? So even when you're in the presence of other people, when you have boundaries, you will not allow them to influence you. But I was very much influenced by working in that environment, and I'm glad I'm no longer there. And let me see. I know, Josie, that is so true. Hi, sis. I love my coffee, but I'll also be sharing. And remember, these are my experiences. I'm not a doctor. I always say do your due diligence, but it's also very important to know what kind of coffee you're drinking, because a lot of coffee has been tested and has mold in it. So you always want to make sure that it's organic and sourced right. And actually, there's research that has been done that black coffee is good for the liver, but don't add all the extra stuff. You know, all the extra stuff that people add from the different coffee stores. I don't want to mention names. I don't want to be put in social media jail or whatever. But you know what I'm talking about. Let me see. I hope you can see me. It's getting sunny out here. Yeah, so it's very important that you pay attention to, you want to make sure that it's organic. And if you can, drink it black. Drink it black without adding all the extra stuff on there. Let me see what else. All right. Yeah. Hi, Asaya. Good to see you. You need to invite me in that trip that you're going, my sister. All right, guys. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Coach Lois. Thank you, Sis Shalina. Coach Betty, Clarence. Thank you, Sis Shalina. Thank you so much, Sis Aseye. Thank you, Sis Josie. Thank you so much, everybody. So let's meet tomorrow. Click the link. It's in the bio. Let's talk about the relationship that you have with your food and how that impacts your health. Let's start having a great relationship with our food, because God created the food to nourish us, right? But We got to talk about that. Let's have that real raw conversation tomorrow. All right. You all have a great evening. Bye, everyone. And thank you so much for taking your time to join my live stream on Destined with Greatness podcast show. I appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Hi, Pharaoh. Good to see you.